Being the last one in an avoidance mind does not automatically mean they will choose you in their actions. And that single sentence is both the coldest splash of reality and the most liberating thing your nervous system can hear. Because if you're here, you've probably been living inside a very seductive illusion. They're inconsistent because it's real. They're scared because I matter. They keep coming back because I'm the one.
This is your emotional
Sometimes,
system,
yes,
a complex
you do
clockwork
matter.
of feelings.
Sometimes you
But
are
the
the
delay
deepest
gear
connection
prevents
they've
real-time
experienced.
contact.
But if you
It
don't
slows your
separate
heart's
what they
true
feel
connection.
from what they actually do, you can waste months or even years trying to earn something that should be freely given. Consistency. This is why this message hits so deeply. It exposes the trap without shaming you. It says, you're not crazy for feeling like you're special, but you're also not safe if you confuse special with chosen. Because an avoidant can hold you as a powerful idea in their mind, the one they compare others to, the one they can't forget, the one who stirred something in them, and still treat you in real life like an option. They can miss you at night and ignore you during the day. They can romanticize you from a distance while refusing to build something real up close. They can feel intense attachment and still avoid responsibility. That's not because you're unworthy. It's because their inner world is divided. This is where the endgame illusion becomes dangerous. The illusion makes you tolerate things you would never tolerate if you weren't emotionally invested. It makes you accept crumbs as evidence of love. It makes you interpret silence as depth. It makes you translate inconsistency into fear of commitment instead of calling it what it is, inconsistency. And the avoidant dynamic thrives on that translation because as long as you keep rewriting their lack of choice into a love story, they never have to face the consequences of not choosing you. So what does it really mean when you're the final one? In their mind, it often means you are the person they can't easily replace emotionally, but also the one they feel most exposed around. You activate both their tenderness and their fear at the same time. In their inner world, you become the symbol of the love they wish they could fully embrace. In real life, you become the place where they
This bridge
feel the
feels so
most pressure
fragile.
to show
I'm
up
afraid.
correctly.
It's delicate,
And if they
but it's
don't
strong.
believe they can,
Trust it.
But
they
what if I lose
retreat.
myself in it?
That
You
retreat
won't.
can look
We'll
like
find
mixed
balance together.
signals, delays,
Welcome to my mind's
partial
filing
commitments,
cabinet.
and hot and
Everything
cold
is meticulously
cycles.
organized.
If you don't have this truth
And
grounded
here's the
within
emotions
you,
drawer.
you'll keep thinking,
It's locked and
if I
postponed
just
for
love
now.
better, they'll finally choose me. But here's the hard clarity. People don't commit to what they love the most. They commit to what they are ready to take responsibility for. Read that again carefully, because this is the line that separates heartbreak from healing. Someone can adore you and still not have the capacity to hold you. Someone can believe you are the one and still choose comfort over growth every time the relationship asks for real effort. That's why behavior is everything. Behavior is the receipt. Behavior is the proof. Behavior is the only thing your future can actually be built on. Words can be poetic. Feelings can feel overwhelming. Chemistry can be electric. But if their behavior is inconsistent, your life becomes unstable. Your peace becomes conditional. Your confidence becomes dependent on their moods. And slowly, you begin shrinking yourself just to keep the connection alive, staying quiet so you don't push them, staying easy so you don't trigger them, accepting less so they don't disappear. That's not love. That's you negotiating your own needs down to match someone else's fear. This also explains why avoidance can become most affectionate right when you begin to detach, because detachment threatens access, and threatened access creates urgency. So they come back with energy, warmth, attention, nostalgia, even intensity, and you think, see, I matter, I'm the one. But what you're often witnessing is not commitment, it's activation. It's the avoidant trying to restore control of the connection without stepping into full accountability. They want the comfort back, the attention back, the option back. That return can feel like destiny if you've been emotionally starved. That's why it's so addictive. So the real question becomes the right one. Not, do they think I'm the final one? But, do they consistently choose me through their actions? Because being the end game in someone's mind can still leave you stuck in limbo. You can be the person they dream about and still be the person they don't protect. You can be the one they regret losing and still be the one they refuse to keep properly. This is where your power begins. You stop trying to win a place in their mind and start requiring a place in their life. You stop being impressed by their returns and start looking for real repair. You stop being moved by, I've never felt this way before, and start listening for, I'm going to show up differently. You stop accepting, I'm not ready, as a romantic tragedy, and start hearing it as information. This person is not currently capable of giving me what I need, and that information is not an invitation to try harder. It's a signal to set a standard. Because if you truly are the final one, you won't have to beg forever for basic effort. A person who is ready will move toward clarity, not hide in confusion. A person who is ready will build, not circle. A person who is ready won't just feel you deeply. They will protect what they feel with consistent behavior.
We're so tangled up.
There has to be another way.
What if we reframe this?
At the exact
Yes,
same
a new
time.
perspective.
And this is the missing piece for the person who keeps asking, if they feel so much, why do they keep pulling away? Because for avoidance, the endgame person is rarely the one they feel calm with at first. It's the one who shakes them, the one who makes them feel exposed, the one who makes their nervous system light up in two opposite directions, desire and defense. Secure people experience deep feelings as a signal to move closer. Avoidant individuals often experience deep feelings as a signal that danger is near. Not danger in the sense that you are harmful, but danger
Learned
in the
behavior
sense
has
of,
deep roots in the
if I let
subconscious
this
mind.
in, I might
These
lose
roots extend
control.
into early experiences and core
For many
beliefs.
avoidants,
Understanding these
control
layers is
equals
key to
safety.
personal growth.
They learned early, sometimes without words, that relying on others leads to pain, that needing someone creates vulnerability. That vulnerability can lead to rejection, disappointment, or shame. So they built a system around independence. They learned to numb, distract, minimize, and detach. That system helped them survive, but it creates chaos in adult relationships. Then you come along and do something they can't easily manage. You make them feel not just attraction, but attachment. Not just excitement, but tenderness. Not just chemistry, but meaning. And the moment that feeling appears, their fear rises too. Because deep feelings raise the stakes. And when the stakes rise, avoidants don't automatically think, I want to commit. They think, what if I fail? What if I can't maintain this? What if I become dependent? What if they truly see me? What if I lose myself? So you become the final one in their mind because you touch the deepest part of them. But you also become the person who activates the internal alarm that says retreat. This is why an avoidant can be incredibly intense and then suddenly
Within the
distant.
mind, intellectual knowing and felt
intensity
emotion
is
guide
their
us.
heart
But
moving
survival-level
toward you.
regulation takes
The
priority,
distance is
shielding
their
us.
defense system
While
pulling
relational
them
depth,
back.
though beautiful,
It's
remains
their nervous
distant.
system saying, that was too close. And this is where people get stuck, because the high feels so powerful that the low feels like a misunderstanding. You start thinking maybe you said something wrong, maybe you moved too fast, maybe you should be more patient. But the truth is, the cycle is often internal
You
to
are
them.
so
Your
high up.
closeness didn't create
Yes,
it.
I am
Their
above
fear
you.
did.
Can I
Deep
come up
fear
too?
in avoidant
Not yet.
psychology isn't
Look up to
always
me.
fear of you leaving. Sometimes
In a
it's
quiet
fear of you
library,
staying and
memories are
seeing
preserved.
everything.
A
Fear
librarian
of you
carefully
expecting
archives the impressions
consistency.
of a bond.
Fear of you
Here,
needing
emotions
them
are kept safe,
emotionally.
in a special
Fear
place.
of being responsible for someone else's heart. Fear of being trapped in obligation. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing freedom. fear of being exposed as imperfect. All of these fears can live underneath their distance. So when you become their endgame person, you become the one who brings all those fears to the surface. That's why they keep you in the gray zone.
Escape!
The gray zone lets them feel close without
you!
fully committing. It gives them access without full responsibility. It allows them to retreat whenever the internal alarm becomes too loud. And this is why understanding matters. Because once you realize their fear is activated by their feelings, you stop taking their pullback personally. You stop thinking you're unlovable. You stop believing you're too much.
These fragments so confusing.
You stop assuming you ruined it by wanting
Like
clarity.
a broken window in my mind.
You begin to see that this is what
I can't make
happens
sense
when
of it.
they feel deeply. Their love
The bottle
and
is
their
cast
fear
into the sea.
rise together.
Will it
But
return,
understanding
proving I
does
am
not
here?
mean you tolerate the cycle forever. This
The
is
waves
not
bring
here
it
to
back,
excuse their
affirming my
behavior.
presence.
It's here to explain it, so you don't stay trapped in a fantasy. Because their deep feelings can become your trap. You start believing that because they feel deeply, they will eventually act differently. You start living for the moments they soften. You start waiting for the version of them that shows up when they are emotionally open. And you ignore the version of them that disappears when real effort is required. And that is why the person they feel the deepest for is often the one they run from the most. Not because you lack value, but because you represent the highest level of emotional exposure for them. They can stay casual with people they don't feel deeply about.
This is a
They can
test of
even appear
control.
consistent
What do you
with
mean?
someone who doesn't trigger
Your
the
pawn
same
can
level
capture
of
my
fear.
queen.
It's
But
so
with
far
you,
away.
Exactly.
The
Control
stakes
the
feel
impulse.
I did it.
enormous. And if they don't have the emotional tools to handle that, they will manage it the only way they know: distance. Now here's the retention punch in this message. The person listening wants to know what happens next. If deep feelings trigger deep fear, does that mean they will return? Often yes, because once they calm down, the feelings come back. The heart comes back, the sense of missing you returns, and then the cycle repeats. Closeness, fear, distance, longing, return. That's why it becomes so addictive. So the real lesson is this. If you are the endgame person, your power is not to shrink yourself to soothe their fear. Your power is to require growth, because deep feelings without emotional capacity will still create the same result: inconsistency. The only way that endgame becomes a real partnership is when the avoidant learns to tolerate intimacy without running, when they learn to communicate fear instead of acting it out, when they learn to repair instead of disappear. Otherwise, you will be the person who matters the most and still gets treated with the least consistency. And that's why this message matters so much. It tells
Wait,
you,
Why
you
isn't it
didn't
moving?
imagine the depth.
It's
But
like a
depth
perfect
alone
mirror.
Isn't enough.
This is so confusing.
The question is not whether they feel it. The question is whether they can handle what they feel in a mature, grounded way. They keep the endgame person in a gray area because the gray zone feels safest. And this is what exposes the real trap behind maybe someday. The gray area is where the avoidant can keep you close enough to soothe their loneliness, but far enough away to avoid responsibility. It's where they can enjoy your warmth without committing to the effort that real love
You
requires.
broke it!
No, I
For the
didn't!
person
Look!
experiencing it,
Wait,
the gray
what's
area
happening?
is intoxicating
frozen.
because
This
it
wasn't
keeps
in the
hope
script.
alive.
What do
It
I do
keeps
now?
the story unfinished. It makes every small breadcrumb feel like a clue that the ending will eventually be beautiful. But the gray area is not an accident. It is a nervous system strategy. Avoidants use ambiguity as a form of control. When nothing is clearly defined, they can't be held accountable to any definition. When you're not officially together, they can disappear without technically doing anything wrong. When
This
you're not
platform is
clearly
crumbling
apart,
beneath me.
They can return without
falling
needing
into
to
the
repair
unknown.
anything.
Uncertainty
The
and
gray
vulnerability
area
swirl
becomes
below.
the perfect
What
environment
awaits me
for
in this
someone
abyss?
who wants emotional access but fears emotional responsibility. Most people know they're in the gray zone because they live in constant confusion. They don't know where they stand. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what the rules are. They find themselves asking questions like, are we together? What are we? Do you actually want this? Why do you keep coming back? And every time they ask, the avoidant responds with vagueness. I don't know. Let's not label it. I'm not ready. I just need space. Can't we just go with the flow? Those phrases may sound harmless, but they are the language of avoidance. They keep you emotionally invested while keeping them emotionally uncommitted. Now, why does the gray area feel safest for them? Because it lowers risk. If they fully choose you, they risk being seen. They risk failing. They risk being depended on. They risk losing their sense of freedom. They risk having to show up consistently. And consistency is the very thing they struggle with.
Welcome to the mind's
because it
intellectualization
requires
factory.
emotional capacity.
Here, raw emotions are
But if they
processed
keep
into
you in the
logical
gray,
explanations,
they can move in
neatly
when they
labeled and
miss
ready
you
for
and
use.
move out when they feel
Understanding
pressure.
achieved.
They can have the emotional highs without the responsibility.
Speak, we implore you!
They can have you
Your
without
stillness
fully
breaks
being
our
yours.
hearts.
The
This
drama
is
falls
why the
flat.
gray zone creates addiction for the person on the receiving end. Because the highs are intense. When an avoidant feels close, they can be incredibly affectionate, focused, and convincing. They can make you feel like you are the only person in the world, then they pull away and you crash. During the distance, you sit in anxiety, overthinking, and hope. Then they return, and the relief feels euphoric. That's the cycle. Tension, relief, tension, relief. The connection becomes a nervous system roller coaster, and you begin to mistake intensity for love. But the gray area is also where self-worth slowly erodes. Because when nothing is defined, you begin negotiating against yourself. You become afraid to ask for clarity. You become hesitant to express your needs. You become worried about appearing too much. You start performing calmness just to keep them. You start accepting less contact, less effort, less consistency, because you're afraid that asking for more will make them disappear. Over time, you become the version of yourself that tries to be easy to love instead of the version of yourself that requires love to feel safe. And here is the most important truth. Being kept in the gray area is not proof that you are the endgame person. It is proof that they want the benefits of you without the responsibility of choosing you. Many people romanticize the gray zone and say they're scared because it's real. Sometimes fear is real, yes. But fear is not a relationship plan. Fear is not a commitment. Fear is not consistency. Fear is not accountability. And if you allow fear to justify staying in limbo, you will keep paying for someone else's unhealed patterns with your peace. So how do you handle the gray zone without becoming cold or closed off? You stop negotiating against yourself. You bring structure where they bring ambiguity. You don't
It's not
attack,
making any
you
sound.
define.
The
You
usual
don't
patterns
beg,
are gone.
You state.
This silence is
You say
unsettling.
something simple and
Something's
grounded.
really broken.
I care about you, but
My
I'm not
story is
available for
breaking
undefined
apart.
connections. If you want to build something,
pieces are
it
floating
needs
away.
clarity and consistency.
A fractured
not,
tale
I'm stepping
lost to
back.
the wind.
That's not an ultimatum. That's self-respect. And here's what happens when you do that. A person who genuinely wants you may feel nervous, but they will step forward. They will
This plate of
communicate.
everyday
They will
experience
try.
looks so
They
beautiful,
will work through
but
the
it lacks
discomfort.
emotional
They
texture
will not punish your need for
and
clarity.
leaves a quiet,
But
undefinable
someone
emptiness.
who only wanted the gray zone will resist. They may call you pressure. They may say, you're making this a big deal. They may disappear. They may come back later with breadcrumbs. Because the gray zone is where they feel in control, and structure removes that control. This message resonates because it answers a painful question. Why do they keep me close but never commit? It's because the gray area is their comfort zone, but it also shows the way out. You don't leave the gray zone by chasing harder. You leave it by raising your standard and refusing to stay in uncertainty. Because if you are truly the endgame person, you should not have to live in limbo to be loved. And if the only way they can keep you is by keeping things undefined, then they are not choosing you. They are managing access to you. Some avoidants choose a safe bet in real life while still carrying you as their emotional endgame. And this is the realization that helps you stop taking it personally and start seeing the pattern clearly. When you hear safe bet, your mind may go to a painful place. So I wasn't enough. So I wasn't chosen. So I must have been too intense, too deep, too much.
I need to
But
label
that
these
self-blame
sensations.
is exactly
They're too
what keeps you
powerful for
stuck.
that. I'll
The
dismiss
truth
them
is,
then. They
avoidants
bypass
don't always choose
defenses.
the person
I
they
feel
feel the
them.
most for. They often choose the person their nervous system can handle without needing to change. A safe bet is not necessarily better, it's just easier. A safe bet is more predictable. A safe bet usually requires less emotional exposure. A safe bet doesn't trigger their deepest fears. It doesn't activate the same intensity, vulnerability, or pressure to show up emotionally. And if they are not doing the inner work, they will choose comfort over depth almost every time. That's why it can happen that you were the one who made them feel the most alive, yet they still walked away. You were the one they opened up to, yet they still shut down. You were the one they couldn't forget, yet they still chose someone else. Because you weren't the problem, you were the mirror. You reflected their unhealed parts. You activated the places where they lacked capacity. You brought up questions they didn't want to face. Can I be consistent? Can I be emotionally present? Can I repair when I hurt someone? Can I handle closeness without escaping? And when those questions arise, the avoidant doesn't always rise to meet them. Sometimes they retreat to the option that allows them to avoid growth. Now it's important to understand what safe really means in this context. Safe doesn't always mean emotionally healthy. Often, it simply means low threat. It means the relationship feels manageable. The partner may be less emotionally demanding. They may accept less. They may not challenge them. They may avoid difficult conversations. They may chase them, which gives them a sense of control. They may be more dependent, which boosts their ego. They may fit into their life without asking them to evolve. That's why an avoidant can commit to a safe option and still think about you. Because commitment for them is not always about love.
This is your emotional
it's about
system,
regulation.
a complex
It's about
clockwork
what
of
keeps them
feelings.
calm.
But
It's
the
about
delay
what
gear
maintains
prevents
their
real-time
sense of control.
contact. It
It's
slows
about
your
what
heart's
prevents
true
them
connection.
from feeling exposed. You, the endgame person, felt too real, too deep, too revealing, too high stakes. They may have imagined a future with you, but imagining is always safer than building something real. Building something real requires them to show up, to be accountable, to stay consistent, to be emotionally courageous. And if they fear failing at that level, they will often choose the route where they don't have to try as hard. This is also why some avoidants seem to marry quickly after a deep connection ends. The person watching sees it and thinks they moved on so fast. But often they didn't move on emotionally. They moved on structurally. They chose a situation that feels stable without demanding emotional depth. Structure can resemble love from the outside, but internally it can function as a coping mechanism. It can be, I need someone here, not, I'm ready to be a true partner. Now, does this mean they never loved you? Not necessarily. It means they may not have had the capacity to love you in a healthy, consistent way. And this is where the message protects the listener, because many people begin competing, trying to become safer, trying to become less intense, trying to become easier to handle. They shrink themselves so they can fit into the avoidance comfort zone. But that is the wrong goal entirely. The goal is not to become the safe option. The goal is to be with someone who can handle depth without running from it. Here's the important distinction. If they choose a safe option, it reveals their level of emotional maturity, not your value. It reveals what they are capable of right now. It shows whether they prioritize growth or comfort. It shows
bridge
whether
feels
they
so
can tolerate
fragile. I'm
intimacy
afraid.
or
It's
only
delicate, but
tolerate
it's strong.
stability.
Trust it.
And
But
you
what
do
if I
not
lose
want to
myself
be
in it?
chosen by
You won't.
someone who
We'll find
chooses
balance
purely
together.
to avoid discomfort.
Welcome to my mind's
Because
filing
if they
cabinet.
avoid discomfort
Everything
in
is
love,
meticulously
they will
organized.
also avoid accountability.
And here's the emotions
They
drawer.
will avoid
It's
repair.
locked and postponed for
They
now.
will avoid the conversations that keep relationships healthy. And that means, even if they choose you, you may still suffer later. This also explains a hard truth. You can be unforgettable and still be unchosen. Because being unforgettable is about impact, while being chosen is about capacity. Impact makes them remember you. Capacity allows them to build something real with you. And if their capacity is low, they will choose what their nervous system can manage, not what their heart feels most deeply. So what does someone do with this understanding? They stop romanticizing the avoidant's choice as a reflection of their worth. They stop waiting for a future where the avoidant suddenly realizes it was them all along. Because even if that realization happens, realization alone does not create capacity. The avoidant must do the internal work. They must learn to communicate. They must learn consistency. They must learn to repair. Otherwise, you will be pulled back into the same pattern even years later. And that is why this message keeps people engaged, because it promises clarity at the end. If you were the end game in their mind, but they chose a safer option in life, what do you do now? The answer is not to chase them. The answer is to choose yourself so fully that the only person who can be with you is someone who can hold depth without turning it into fear. They often test the door with a story view or a touch of nostalgia because testing is safer than choosing. And this is what saves people from getting pulled back into the exact same cycle the moment the avoidant reappears. Because most people think the hardest part is the silence, the ghosting, the distance. But the real danger is the return. The return is where your logic fades and your hope takes control. The return is where you begin bargaining with your own standards. The return is where you confuse a signal with a solution. A test is not a reunion. A test is simply a temperature check. It's the avoidant trying to answer one question without risking vulnerability. Do I still have access? Because access equals comfort. Access equals control. Access is a way to regulate their anxiety without doing real repair. Avoidants rarely come back with full accountability at first. Full accountability would sound like, I was wrong, I hurt you, I avoided you, I want to fix this. That level of honesty exposes them. It creates the possibility of rejection. It brings up shame, so instead they return through the side door. Small messages, casual contact. Hey, how are you? I saw something that reminded me of you. Are you okay? Long time. They might like an old photo or watch your stories because that gives them a connection without the risk of direct vulnerability. This is why nostalgia becomes such a common approach. Nostalgia allows them to activate your emotions without addressing the present. Remember when pulls you back into a warm memory. It makes you feel close again.
We're so
It
tangled
softens
up.
the pain
There
just
has to
enough
be
for you
another
to
way.
respond.
What if we
And the
reframe
moment
this?
you respond,
Yes,
they
a
receive
new
what they were
perspective.
seeking first. Proof. Proof that you still care. Proof that the door is still open. Proof that they haven't completely lost you. And this is the part that needs to be understood clearly. The test protects their pride. If you respond warmly, they can return without losing face. If you don't, they can tell themselves, I tried, without having to face the deeper rejection of a real, vulnerable confession. A test is safe because it is deniable. They can act like it meant nothing if it doesn't go well. This is why testing becomes their preferred move when they feel the connection slipping away. And this matters
Learned
because
behavior
people
has deep
often
roots in the
overinterpret
subconscious
these
mind.
small signals.
These roots extend into
If they
early
watched my
experiences and core
story,
beliefs.
Do they miss
Understanding
me?
these layers is
If they
key to
liked
personal
my
growth.
post, are they thinking about me? If they texted, Are they coming back? The truth is more grounded. Yes, tests can mean they are thinking about you. Yes, they can mean they feel something. Yes, they can mean they miss the comfort you brought. But tests do not automatically mean they are ready for a healthy relationship. An avoidant can test you for many reasons. They might be lonely. They might be bored. They might feel anxious. They might feel jealous. They might feel guilty. They might want reassurance. They might want to confirm they still have you as an option. They might genuinely miss you, but genuine missing does not equal the capacity to show up consistently. So what is the right response to a test? Not anger, not silence as punishment, not emotional flooding. The right response is calm structure. Calm structure is what separates being pulled back into old patterns from creating something different. It means you don't over-reward a small breadcrumb. You don't turn a simple hey into a full emotional reunion. You don't give relationship-level access to someone who hasn't shown relationship-level behavior. Instead, you respond in a way that invites clarity. Something like, "I'm doing well. What are you reaching out for?"
Within the mind,
Or,
intellectual knowing
"I'm
and
open
felt
to a
emotion
real
guide us.
conversation,
But survival-level
I'm not
regulation
available
takes
for
priority, shielding us.
inconsistency."
While
The tone
relational
is not
depth,
cold,
though beautiful,
not
remains
desperate,
distant.
not dramatic. It's steady and direct. It shifts the responsibility back onto them. And that's the point. You make them step forward if they want to be in your life. You don't run toward them and pull them in. Now, here's where many people feel triggered. If I say that, they might disappear. And the answer is simple.
You are so high
If a
up.
basic request for
Yes,
clarity
I am above
makes
you.
them disappear,
Can I come
then
up
they
too?
were never coming back
Not
to
yet.
build something
Look
real.
up to me.
They were coming back to regain
In a quiet
control.
library, memories are
A
preserved.
person who
A
genuinely
librarian
wants
carefully
you will
archives
respect
the
your
impressions of a
boundaries.
bond.
They will
Here, emotions are
understand your
kept
need
safe
for
in a special
clarity.
place.
They will not punish you for protecting your peace. They might feel nervous, but they will stay. They will talk. They will try. But someone who only wanted access will resist. They will keep things vague. They will say, "Why are you being like this?" They will act
they're
as if
after
you
me.
are the problem.
No, stay back!
They may accuse
You
you of
can't
being
escape!
distant or difficult.
Help someone!
They will
Almost
try to
got
reset
you.
the old dynamic where they come and go while you remain available. And if you allow that reset, you teach them that tests work, breadcrumbs work, nostalgia works. So the deeper lesson is this. Your response to the first test sets the new terms. If you reward it with full access, you sign yourself up for the same cycle. If
These
you
fragments so
respond with
confusing.
calm structure, you force
Like a
the
broken
truth
window
to
in my mind.
surface. Either they
I
step
can't
into
make sense of it.
accountability, or they reveal they were only
The
checking
bottle is
if they
cast
still
into the
had
sea.
you. And this is
Will it
why this
return,
message is
proving I
so
am here?
impactful. It doesn't just explain
The
their
waves
behavior.
bring it back,
It
affirming
gives
my
you
presence.
a tool that protects your dignity. It turns their test into a mirror. Because the real question is not whether they reached out. The real question is whether they can show up with clarity, consistency, and respect after they do. Stop auditioning. Raise your standards calmly, and they will either rise to meet them or reveal that they only loved the idea of you. This is the final payoff because it gives what has been missing all along, a strategy that preserves self-respect. Most people don't lose power because they love too much. They lose power because they keep auditioning for a role that should already be secured through consistent behavior. They keep trying to prove they are worthy of being chosen, while the avoidant quietly benefits
This is
from
a
that
test of
effort.
control.
What do you
The
mean?
avoidant receives
Your
devotion
pawn can
without
capture my queen.
commitment,
It's so
warmth
far
without
away.
responsibility,
Exactly. Control the impulse.
access
I did
without
it.
accountability. Auditioning may look harmless, but it slowly drains you. It's the constant explaining, the endless patience, the repeated, "I'll be understanding," the ongoing, "maybe if I don't ask for too much." It's the performance of being low maintenance so they won't leave. Auditioning turns love into a job interview that never actually results in being chosen.